God, Kentucky's going to lose. Oh, that's
so Kentucky losing to a 14 seed is so Kentucky, Yeah. Seen as the most talented team in this tournament.
That kills all my brackets.
A team full of guys that have, tournament, not just tournament special potential, but NBA potential. A bunch of guys that are going to be high first-round draft picks, lottery dudes. Coach Cal, I don't think cares about these things. I think he really does only care about making these guys pros. I really think that.
They're going to be calling for his head tonight in Kentucky.
Yeah,
man.
and it won't matter.
They already were.
It does not matter.
He might be done after this year.
No.
Kentucky fans have been
said that
calling his
year.
name all year.
I'll bet anybody right now $500 Cal's not coaching Kentucky tomorrow.
All right, let's do it. You won't pay up.
Not tomorrow. Next season.
You won't pay up.
Oh, that's so painful. Well, I'll pay the money. I won't dress like a Viking. I'll give you guys the money. That is painful right there. Oh my God, I want to swear and I want to break things.
Your dad was the head coach at Mississippi State. You coached Ole Miss. What a rivalry. How did you break the news to Big Kerm that you were going to a hated rival considering the family's deep connections to Mississippi State?
Other than money.
Yeah. My dad's last year at Mississippi State, 1977, as the head coach, made either $39,000 or $41,000. So I didn't tell him, obviously, he read the newspaper what I made. He goes, hell, son. I can turn an Ole Miss Rebel real easy. But when you grow up in these heated rivalries in these states like Mississippi, and Mississippi is such a unique and cool state, and sometimes it gets a little bad rap, but the rivalry's intense. But I'm telling you, we grew up. I had so many Ole Miss pals, vice versa. My dad same way in coaching, and so he made the transition and became a big Ole Miss Rebel fan. And but obviously he loves the Bulldogs.
You saw what they've done. Well, I don't know if you guys saw. I have to get up very early. But if you've seen what they've done in Korea and the fact that there are entire watch parties filling stadiums in Japan to watch Shohei Ohtani play, this man is a global influence for baseball. And the fact that Rob Manfred has not yet launched a wholesale investigation blows my mind, because I think it was Austin Riley. I think it was anybody else. He absolutely does that. The translator coming out, saying a story, meeting with the PR guys, changing the story. First Shohei knew about it, then he didn't know about it. First he agreed, Now it's stolen money. And oh, by the way, it's $4.5 million that now the story it was stolen, but Shohei's not pressing charges. They're still buddy-buddy, even though he doesn't work for the Dodgers anymore. I'm not a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist. I don't believe anything until you show me the evidence kind of guy. But this is what we in the business call a hell of a lot of circumstantial evidence. But again, so many times in sports, ladies and gentlemen, money wins out over ethics all the time. More often than it doesn't, money wins out over ethics. So I don't know, man. I'd like to think baseball looks into this, just because of the story flip-flopping one to the next and more people involved and the cops and not the cops. I'd like to think they'd look into it. Somewhere right now, the only thing I know for a fact is that Pete Rose is tearing his damn hair out right this very second.
Yeah, no doubt. What are your thoughts on Major League Baseball deciding to open the season 2 weeks before everywhere else, with games no one can watch, especially the contingent of fans in Los Angeles? Because in 2019, the Mariners swept the A's in a 2-game series in Tokyo, and Oakland barely hung on to a wild card spot by 1 game. So these are the games that matter. What is the point of this Seoul series?
Here's the thing. If this series was in Japan, it would make a lot of sense, right? You would understand it if it was in Japan with Ohtani and Yamamoto going, who got shellacked. Oops, by the way. It being in Seoul, Korea, I don't think this is anything more than Major League Baseball testing outside markets, right? We saw the NBA last week say that they're looking at launching a standalone league in Europe. It'll be developmental, but it's going to be a standalone league to try to open up access to the NBA pipeline. And I think MLB will likely do the same. So this is a good way to get a feel for, will people turn out? You send the biggest two names in Asian baseball right now in Yamamoto and Otani over to, I hope this doesn't sound as bad as I think it sounds in my head, but you start sending them to some different Asian countries to see if the fan base embraces them outside of Japan. The Dodgers they've already said their next step is they want to be Japan's team. I don't think this is anything more than an experiment to see if Major League Baseball can prop up something. I don't think it's a team in Asia, but to prop up some sort of developmental pipeline, considering how influential Asian baseball is on Major League Baseball right now. I think it's just an experiment. On top of that, how many people got up and watched it, right? Let's see what the numbers look like. If you had 1 million Americans get up at 6 a.m, 3 a.m. California time to watch this game, now I got eyes on a product, not just abroad, but domestically too. Now it's less of an experiment, right?
I really wanted to wake up. I even set the alarm, but then I got up and I was like, oh my God, it is so early. And then I tuned back in, and in both days I was mad at myself. I wanted to bet the Dodgers, and then today I wanted to bet the Padres. I didn't do it. Let me ask you one last question about baseball. We got about 3 minutes left here, Rob. When you look at the American League, man, I probably have asked you this question like 3 or 4 times. I still can't believe that the Yankees are the favorites to win the AL East, especially now with the Garrett Cole injury. Like, make sense of that. And then also really quick, like, who would you trust, Baltimore or Toronto? Because everybody's going to answer Baltimore. I'm kind of falling in love with Toronto, man. I think Vlad's going to have a bounce back here.
Don't you say that every year?
Yeah, but like this year we're getting almost 4-1 odds on him. I think this could be the Blue Jays' year. I legitimately do.
Listen, we do this song and dance with the Blue Jays every year. We've been doing this song and dance with the Blue Jays for like 3 years. Cody Decker does this thing where every year he goes and he loves up on the Chicago White Sox, and then they inevitably disappoint them. The Toronto Blue Jays, my friend, have you an abusive relationship, and I need you to stop. You have friends to lean on. You have people here to help you, and we will try to do that. The Orioles win this division, and it's not just because of Garrett Cole. It's because Giancarlo Stanton is going to miss some time. It's because we have no idea. I think Juan Soto is going to go back to being DC Juan Soto, but we don't know that for a fact. And Aaron Judge already said, even though he's playing, Aaron Judge has already said, hey, my toe is just permanently injured now, right? Like, my foot is permanently bad. I've got to rehab. I've got to take time, which means that he's going to miss some time this year. It might be scheduled, but he is going to miss time, which adds pressure to Soto and Stanton. So I think the Yankees are still going to be very good. But being as young as they are and not nearly as injury-prone as New York is, I've actually already put a flyer on Baltimore to win the AL East and to win the American League outright this year. I've got a Baltimore-Atlanta World Series bet outright this very second.